On this week's show, Captain Marvel is finally here. Game of Thrones finally gives us a glimpse of season 8, and a whole bunch of good news for Devil May Cry fans. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is our Captain Marvel of Humanica Media. You gotta check out everything today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man? It is finally here. Captain Marvel is here. And I just tell you what, I'm so excited. And I know you are as well.
Super excited, but you're clearly more enthused than I am. Yeah, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I was so excited. In fact, I was so excited, I got a chance to appear this week on the Big Daddy Roadshow. If you want to check out BigDaddyRoadshow.com or Big Daddy Roadshow on YouTube, I was humbled to be asked to appear on the show to talk about Captain Marvel at length. So if you want to hear my thoughts there, it's an outstanding show if you like the adult talk format type deal. It's over 3 hours of great talk that's there. I know I got to be in the first half hour, so you want to check that out. And you know what? It went up on YouTube. You got a chance to look at it. And at first, there were some technical difficulties, my friend. You want to know what they were?
Shoot.
All right. Well, he did come back and tell me the first time around that my head was just a little too big and was distorting everything. So they had to go ahead and have it fixed.
I don't see the difference. How do they fix it?
I was setting myself up for that. I was setting myself up. I didn't even give you any real leeway into that either. You just hit it right out of the park. But it is going to be a great show we have for everyone out there today. We will be talking Captain Marvel. Rest assured, we've got a lot of that coming up because not only are Josh and I are going to talk about it, we also have Jamie Monroy from Game Source. He is actually going to be reviewing the show for us. We have Jessica Boggs from the TV Ratings Guide, Daphne Matthew from the Walking Dead fan base and Talking the Dead, plus also Nutty Nuchkas from Nutty Bites and Beyond the Wall. They're all going to be talking about Captain Marvel, what it means to them, and how important it is to our culture, pop culture, the whole 9 yards, and also the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're going to be talking at length about Captain Marvel and the hopes for not only for them and what they want the movie to be, but also for young ladies and women out there as well. Plus, we're also going to be talking on the back end about Devil May Cry 5. That's coming out this weekend. So excited for that. A lot of great reviews. We're going to be talking about the Devil May Cry series and how important this game, if it succeeds, what it will do for that series and also going forward for the video game industry. And then also, a little trailer came out this week for, I guess, an independent show that I'm kind of think is on this little small channel called HBO. It is the Game of Thrones. That's right. Season 8 trailer finally dropped. We're going to talk about that. I know Josh, as he stated before, we went on the air. He was just so excited. I watched it, Gerald. That's what his response was. We're going to be talking about that as well. We're going to be talking about that as well at the back end of the show. But first off, my friend, it is Captain Marvel. It is the 21st entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Your thoughts, my friend, on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, well, you know what? I'll tell you what right now. It's going to be something that a lot of people are looking forward to. I know you are as well.
Okay, Captain Marvel. Wait, I'm sorry. What you're gonna have to edit this real quick. What is the question? Something we didn't already talk about?
Well, no, I mean, as far as the excitement, as far as Captain Marvel, it's here, it's
Oh, got it, okay.
and just it because of so many reasons. I mean, it's not just the movie itself, but what it's leading into and where it's going from here.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is the last movie leading up to Avengers Endgame, and this is kind of the missing piece, right? So we saw the the after credit scene in Infinity War, and that was this the signal for Captain Marvel. And I'm excited for this movie, but not for the same reasons you are. I know you're big into the social aspects of the film, whereas I'm going into it because I want that missing puzzle piece. You know, I want the continuity going into Endgame, and that's where I'm more excited about it. And I I I don't really have a lot of expectations for it, honestly. Like I'm trying to stay away from news articles because the remember so I told you I enjoyed Black Panther, but I didn't think that it was great. With this movie, I'm trying to stay away from news articles because I don't want to feel that pressure of going into this movie and being pressured into liking it based on my peers and stuff like that. So I'm trying to go into it with nothing. And so far it's it's been a struggle. So I'm going to go lights out until I see it on Tuesday, but I am excited. I'm it looks interesting. It looks like it's kind of hitting and we what's weird is that we've never gotten a legitimate origin story for a female in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We kind of got one with or Black Widow in Age of Ultron, but we haven't got anything like this. So I'm curious how that formula works when they're dealing with someone who's not Tony Stark, and I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. I saw a couple reviews, a couple numbered reviews, and I know that it's not like getting stellar reviews, but it's still people seem to like it. The consensus is that it's okay. So um, hopefully I can go into it and just be entertained and then go home and say, yeah, that was a good flick. Maybe I'll watch it again sometime.
On Rotten Tomatoes, the current score as of this recording is 82% fresh. And that's just the fact that 82% of the actual reviewers involved are giving it a positive score. Plus, also on Metacritic, which is also I guess, a closer barometer to what the average is of what they're actually scoring it as. It's actually a 66, but that's weighed in by the highs and the lows of whatever is being produced out there. Most of the actual scores are in the sevens and eights as far as the movie is concerned. So I think overall it's going to be a good picture. We'll have our review over the weekend as far as not only in written form on popculturecosmos.com, but also as well, Josh and I are going to share our thoughts in the coming days on it as well, as whether it's going to be on our Monday show or whether it's going to be also on our Friday show. And then you've got Jamie coming up here in a sec when it comes to his thoughts, and because he's actually seen the movie Captain Marvel, and he'll share his thoughts here coming up in just a moment. My friend, when it comes to the actual movie itself, it's projected to do over $100 million, but it's kind of like a very broad brush when it comes to what people are targeting. Some are targeting right around 80 to 100, some are targeting as much as 150. Your thoughts on a possible $150 million take domestically? I'm thinking somewhere in about 110, $120 million personally, because I think there's a lot of excitement because of people like you out there that want to see the missing pieces to Avengers Endgame, and also people like me that wants to go ahead and take his daughters to something that he thinks is going to be a positive reinforcement and sign for women in causes, advancement of where we need to be as far as females leading in Hollywood. So I think it's going to be right around that 110, $120 million mark when it comes to opening weekend domestically. It's gearing up to be about $300 million worldwide. Where do you think the break even line is in Marvel's mind where they think it should end up worldwide to be a positive? It's not going to hit where Black Panther hit at $1.4 billion. But if it hits anywhere near or over what Wonder Woman did at $820 million, I think it's doing just fine.
I don't think it's gonna do as well as Wonder Woman. I feel like it's gonna make some 750 to maybe a little over 800. That's my prediction for it. I don't it's just because seeing the preliminary scores as it is right now, we're at like, IGN and Polygon giving it 7.58, and Wonder Woman scored a lot higher than that. I want to say they had like 8.5s and 9s. So I just don't see it doing outselling Wonder Woman, but I still see it ranking pretty high because what is low for a Marvel film? That's
Well, it depends on the Marvel film. You have to go through Metacritic one. That is on Metacritic. It is actually one of the lower scored in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then you're talking also about the Thor movies and a couple of the Ant Man movie. I think the original one I think didn't score very high. There's been a couple others that have not scored as high as some others. All have had positive scores of some type, including the Incredible Hulk 2009. I think that still is garnered a positive score as well. So it's not in the upper echelon, that's for sure, by any stretch of the imagination. So I can see your reasoning on why you don't think it will perform as high as Wonder Woman. I just think it's going to be a lot of excitement leading into it. I know that overseas, like for instance in China, it's compared to Avengers Age of Ultron and Captain America Civil War as far as the numbers pre-order are concerned. I know here in the States that the interest in it is not quite at the level of Avengers Infinity War as far as advanced ticket sales, but it is, I guess, in the ballpark of the top 3 or 4. So I think there will be a lot of enthusiasm that might push it above the $800 million mark. Whether or not it surpasses Wonder Woman, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not going to say 1 billion is out of the realm of possibility because you never know with the kind of momentum that it could have getting closer to Avengers Endgame and a lot of people wanting to see it at the last minute. We saw that same type of deal with Avengers Infinity War and how much it helped, I guess, keep a relevant Black Panther in as far as the top 10 box office is concerned.
right, but this is interesting in the fact that we like last week we had discussed trolling, right? And this movie is weird because in the marketing for this, there's actually I don't know, I feel like maybe it isolates fans a little more than their past films have. So I'm just and the trolling has been a result of that, but I just I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people who would have gone to see it in theaters are now going to wait until it comes out on Redbox or digital or whatever, but they're still gonna watch it. I just don't see it doing as well as everyone's predicting it's going to do. Because I certainly didn't expect it to score, sevens and eights. I thought it would be, people would be giving it nines, 9.5s and stuff like that. So
I agree with you on that part because the Twitter comments that were made by reviewers right after the world premiere or the sneak peek, I should say, they were all very positive of the movie and gave no indication of the little bit lower scores than expected that ultimately came out. I also know that there was some backlash from the entertainment media and also backlash from certain groups because of things she had said previously about the entertainment media, which for the most part is true to some extent. I mean, it is primarily the majority of it is white males like us that are covering the entertainment industry on a professional level, and she wanted more diversity in it, which is not bad, which is actually very very welcomed and very appreciated that she spoke out on that. So but it did turn some people the wrong way, but it did make them upset, but it did cause some groups to go out and speak out against her and formulate boycotts, hashtag boycott Captain Marvel, videos on YouTube that are demeaning the actual demeaning her and Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel movie. There's also the what we talked about when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, where the user bombed, where they user bombed, excuse me, where they bombed the user rating already before the movie even came out. So there's been a lot of issues and controversies that may keep it down as a little bit. I still think there's going to be a lot of momentum for it that will make it, I guess, a worthwhile venture for Marvel and Disney. But I think it has to score well because she is going to be the face of what you see a lot of in the next phase I'm not counting Endgame because who knows what's going to happen in Endgame, but I know she's going to be a part of it. But I'm talking about down the road. She is going to be one of the faces of the Avengers going forward. And if that's the case, I think for a good sign for her that people will accept her in that role, it has to, I believe, initially do pretty good at the box office in order to get that across.
Yeah, I agree with you. But back to the just for a quick minute, back to the controversy thing. I think it's just it's bad marketing. And not like I was talking to Brian Kane about this. Like them saying, "Oh, hey, this is a feminist what do you call it? Like a bastion for feminism." It removes my ability to watch the film objectively and get what I want to get out of it. So it's just I it makes me wonder, like, how what if they didn't say that, "Hey, this is, a big feminist thing, yada, yada, yada," would people go into it and, like, would that even make even more like, say your daughter's going to see it and they don't know anything about this controversy, would the movie be that much more enjoyable for them? Why can't we just go into a movie and take what we will out of it? Because that's what movies are supposed to do instead of people telling us what we should or shouldn't think going into it. Because already I feel a lot of pressure to like this movie and I want to, yeah. And I don't want that. It's the same thing with Black Panther. There was so much pressure to like the movie. And I even went back a couple weeks ago trying to watch it again, seeing what else might come out of it, and I still couldn't enjoy it because there's so much pressure. So I just think that people shouldn't do things like that. Let us watch the movie. Let us see where it takes our imagination and what we get out of it. And I think that if Marvel is going to market like this going forward, I do see a severe decline in ticket sales because people don't like that.
If there is an agenda behind it, and if there is an agenda behind it, it has been presented, and like you said, the directors have spoken out in that. No, it shouldn't be. How's just the best way to say this? It should be to the point where everybody should be allowed to enjoy the film for what it is. If it was actually, if we were actually watching it in the time period that this movie takes place in the 1990s, this would not be an issue, and we would just be watching it for what it is, wouldn't we?
Right, but everybody has to make a statement these days, and that is I honestly wonder if we're ever going to experience the magic of cinema again because we're too busy looking for political and social axioms.
Well, actually, we will because we'll all be at one point in time, like she was on the Kree homeworld. When she was suspended and she's having those lasers go into her brain like that. That's how we're going to be done.
That's so
That's how we're going to do it.
hey,
Yeah.
that was good. That was good. Well done.
Yes.
Hey, everyone, Gerald's earned his paycheck for the day. We're
There you
going
go.
home. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Drop the mic. Drop the mic, indeed. But it is going to be, I think, a very good showing. How good? I'm not sure, and I think no one is sure when it comes to this point. When it comes at this point, when it comes to Captain Marvel, it's a wait and see. For me, it's actually a cool curiosity because I want to know how much these controversies affected it, how much interest there is in it. Are people just going to skip over it because they want to see Endgame, or do they need to, or do they feel like I do and that you do, that it's a necessary piece of the puzzle that needs to be watched, needs to be viewed, needs to be understood. The Easter eggs need to be collected, and all the nooks and crannies as far as what secrets might behold inside Captain Marvel as far as the movie is concerned. The after credit scenes, we got to watch those, and anything relating to what's coming up down the road in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting with Captain Marvel, coming up next month with Avengers Endgame, and going forward in the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are your thoughts out there on Captain Marvel? We want to hear your review on the movie. Please, we really want to hear what you have to say in regards to the movie. If you went to go and see it, if you went to go see it this weekend, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Well, coming up next, we've got Jamie Monroy telling us his thoughts because he's actually seen the movie. So he's going to share his thoughts coming up on Captain Marvel, and it's coming up right after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And coming up after the break, we're going to share, and coming up after the break, we're going to have three awesome ladies joining us telling their thoughts on what Captain Marvel is going to mean to them and also as well everyone out there as far as a cultural and just pretty much a pop culture standpoint. Jessica Box for the TV ratings guide, Daphne Matthew from the Walking Dead fan base and Talking the Dead, and Nutty Nucius from Nutty Bites and Beyond the Wall. They're all coming up back to back to back, telling us their thoughts on Captain Marvel. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald coming right back at you here. If you need a listing of where we're at, because we're being played on radio around the world 7 days a week for our shows that drop every Monday and Friday, check out our listings on our Facebook page, Pop Culture Cosmos, and also Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter and Instagram. You will also see on our Facebook page in those listings some of our podcast channels like Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more of those podcast outlets where you can catch all of those shows, plus extra content. Like, for instance, we dropped this week of the full interview with Jay Bartlett from Action Figures, the most powerful toy in the universe. Plus, also he's involved with his own show on the Nerdy Northerners Twitch page, Twitch stream that he's on every Friday night. You want to go ahead and check out the Nerdy Northerners Twitch channel for his show, A Galaxy Far, Far Away. We had a full 40-minute interview right there for you. Plus, also, as extra bonus on top of that, we also had an edition of the Game Source podcast. The latest edition is now available. We just dropped it on Thursday, so you got to check that out with us, with me, Tony Monroy, and Jamie Monroy talking the latest video game news. So you got to check that out, Game Source podcast, and that's available right now on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. My friend, you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so share the goods, my friend. What is going on with Humanica Media?
So we posted the last part of the Topicocalypse Awards. This episode is our video games of the year, and I actually do believe that it is a truly great episode because it was the one time when the conversation did flow. There were no dead spaces. Everyone had something intelligent to say. It was a pretty darn good episode, if I do say so myself. So definitely check that out on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, podcast.com, all the usual places.
And we may even be on next week back on the Podcast Radio Network. Heard a rumor that might be coming back next week.
We'll be on for 3 weeks and then we'll be off for another 4 months.
No comment. No comment on that. But you got to check it out today. That's Topicocalypse. And in fact, there's also something great when it comes to Humanica Media. Just you did a whole bunch of videos that you dropped on your YouTube page.
Yeah, we've been streaming some games, me and Brian Kane and Big Dog playing some Halo. And tonight we're on some Gears of War, just hanging out, playing games, being dudes. Check it out.
That's right. There's several videos there you want to check out today on the Humanica Media YouTube channel. And then also as well, want to let everyone know we finally have a date and a time for our panel at the Level Up Expo in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Game Source, Pop Culture Cosmos will be there along with Game Source, Topicocalypse, Humanica Media, the Go Brothers Gaming, Retro City Games, Mario Party Wars, plus musical performances by Hyperschmidt and Vedius. We will all be there, and they're going to be there doing a 1-hour taping that's live. Well, that's going to be done in front of a live audience. We're going to be taping an episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos show, and you can check that out. That is going to be on April 27th at 3:30 p.m. at the Las Vegas Convention Center. We're doing a panel there. I hope you can make it. For more information, you just want to check out today, levelupexpo.com. That's LVLUPEXPO.com. That's LVLUPEXPO.com. And then also on Thursday, the 25th of April, just before, we're going to be doing it again. A great charity event benefiting three awesome charities here in the Las Vegas area, involving a lot of video game tournaments. If you really liked what we did for the holiday video game tournament and all that, check it out. It's coming up soon, around the corner in April at Retro City Games. My friend, before we head on out, we got to talk a couple of great things going on. And that first off, I'm going to hit you with Devil May Cry 5 because it's hitting this weekend to consoles. The reviews are really, really darn good. I see a lot of nines, 9.5s. This version of Devil May Cry, in a lot of people's opinion, and from what I'm seeing, could be the best one ever.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow, but it's the Devil May Cry 4 was a really underrated game, and I don't think that people really came to appreciate where the franchise was going until after Ninja Theory had their whack at it, which was still pretty good, but it's been so long since we've seen a Devil May Cry proper that it just seemed like the right time to put it out. And then you look at it now, how there's they've taken it out of that arcadey looking feel and put it into a more realistic and visceral uh, look to the game and experience. So you're looking at that now, and the game looks pretty darn good. Like they have brought it up from what used to look like or what was last gen graphics, and it looks amazing. Like even you look at the way the hair moves, you look at the color textures, even the voice acting in this game seems a lot better. Like it feels to me like there's actually a story that one can follow in this game, and the stakes are big. And look at someone like, when you look at Dante, you think of someone who's invincible, right? You see his sarcastic attitude, just the way that he portrays himself. But in this game, and in Devil May Cry 4, you had Nero, obviously a hot-headed kid, but in this one, you see both of them seem to be vulnerable. You see Nero gets his arm ripped off, and just the way that the story plays out, like it does look like it is so much. It is everything the Devil May Cry series should be. It should have been from the start, and it's. I'm excited, man. I don't even know how to explain it. I've been waiting for this game for a really long time, and seeing the weapons you can play with if you do some of the pre-order bonuses. You get Mega Man's arm cannon and stuff like that, but I've always been really intrigued by these characters. And Capcom, after the Resident Evil 2 remake, it seems like they are going to be sitting on top of the world for a bit. Do you have any interest in playing it though?
I do, and there's also a third protagonist involved that you'll be splitting time with during the course of the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, I forget what his name is, but he summons animals, if I remember correctly from the trailers. And so you switch between Nero, Dante, and this guy who starts out wanting to kill Dante, if I'm remembering the trailers correctly. But I saw some more screenshots, and it looks like there's something taking over the earth, like it's crashing into there. So this looks like a huge Devil May Cry game. Like it's epic in a way, and that's something that has never really been done before, because the other Devil May Cry stories seem more self-confined, whereas this one feels like there are actually stakes going at something at stake in this world for these heroes to protect, or anti-heroes, however you want to look at them.
Sorry about that. Trying to get the dude's name, but never mind. Um,
It's like
I
V or something. Yeah.
what?
I thought it was like V or something like that.
Yeah, it is V. That's right, V, because I kept seeing that over and over again. It is V, the third protagonist that you alternate with as you're playing through the game. You're right. He is not really a hands-on type deal as far as when his comment. He is, like you said, summoning out the animals and demons that he has access to that go ahead and attack whoever he wants them to attack, and then he goes and gives the finishing blow. It's funny because sometimes he'll actually be reading a book while they're going ahead and doing the damage. So it's actually looks like he's not even paying attention until he needs to come in there and give that final blow. So it's different styles of the gameplay, which I think is really kind of cool. It's a different look for it. again, the reviews are just off the charts for this game. It's really becoming one of the best games so far in 2019, and I think will probably end up being one of the best games in 2019 when all is said and done. And that's Devil May Cry 5. Looking forward to it as it hits store shelves this weekend, and I know a lot of other people as well. I know, like you said, you're going to be going ahead and getting it and playing through it here very soon, and I know I will hopefully get a be chance. I will hopefully get that same chance as well. What are your thoughts out there on Devil May Cry 5? Are you excited for this latest rendition of the Devil May Cry series? Are you excited to play all three, including a new protagonist in the game? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Well, my friend, just want to ask one more thing before we head on out. Did you get it? Did you get a chance to see the Game of Thrones trailer, the first actual full trailer for season 8?
I did, and it was amazing. But the fear with Game of Thrones trailers is that they're going to give things away. Same thing with the posters. When they show the promo materials that always pop up on the internet. And this trailer did a surprisingly good job of making you uh want to watch the show, but also not giving too much away. Of course, we all want to watch the show because we're stuck on that cliffhanger from last season. But they they showed a couple, like, what happened to a couple characters who have disappeared for a couple seasons. Like, we had Gentry was gone, and then Beric Dondarrion, and Brienne of Tarth. We didn't ever really get to see what happened to her. So it's good to see these characters all coming back. And if you really examine the trailer and see, you kind of see like the settings of some places. Like, all the characters are in Winterfell with the exception of Cersei, but they show Varys in the crypt. So and it shows like Arya's running from somebody, and Sansa's in the crypt as well. I'm curious how Sansa's character is going to play out because I don't really like her. She doesn't really add much to the story. She's very one dimensional, and I know she went through a whole thing with Ramsay Bolton, but she just doesn't. I don't know. She seems like she's not. She has a way about her. Just, I don't know. Call it the resting B word face, but like I just don't. I'm not. She's not my favorite character. Let me just be straight about that. But and at the same time, you have they show, like, they set up for these really big battle sequences. You see Jon Snow and Daenerys going up to the dragons and the Night King's army. Like, the trailer ends with the Night King's horse stopping, and you see kind of like the camera goes up and you see their whole army lined up. So this is awesome, and really we don't know yet if Cersei's going to join the fray or if it's going to be a war where Winterfell is stuck in between the Night King and Cersei Lannister, who is attacking them from the back. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm wondering how that's going to play out, because I hear that the ending of the series is going to be super tragic but really good. And I'm excited, man. I can't really predict much more because I don't want to be wrong. But how are you feeling about it? Do you have any desire to watch this? Are you a fan? Have we talked about this?
We have talked about it. I'm not as big a fan as you have been over the course of the entire 8 seasons. I stepped out after season 1 after seeing, Sean Bean die once again. But I will say I did come back in season 7, and I came back strong. I'm enjoying it. I know my wife is a huge fan, and we're both looking forward to it. I actually went and watched a few of the back episodes just to try and kind of catch up with what's going on with the entirety of Game of Thrones. So I'm now excited about what's going on. I love that last scene from last season. That was just too cool, and it just, to me, it's just setting up for what is going to be just a colossal, huge ending, as far as it's concerned. Watching all the stuff that could take place. I know it's been heavily rumored that the final battle itself will be the longest ever recorded on film, and it lasting upwards of possibly even 90 minutes or even more. So I am excited about that. I would love to see that take place on the movie screens and excuse me, on it, while I'm watching HBO and whatnot. So If you get a chance, I know you have. If you have not checked out the trailer yet, you can check it out on our popculturecosmos.com website. It's right there for you. The trailer's right there. You just go ahead and click on it, and you get to go ahead and judge for yourself. Is there any little nuggets or little Easter eggs that you think are out there that will tell you more about what's going to go on in season 8? What are your thoughts out there on Game of Thrones season 8? Are you excited for it like we are? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Well, I want to thank Jessica Boggs from the TV Ratings Guide, Daphne Matthew from the Walking Dead fan base and Talking the Dead, Nutty Nuchis from Nutty Bites and Beyond the Wall podcast, and also our good friend Jamie Monroy from Game Source for stopping by on today's show. Any last thoughts on the way out, my friend?
Yes. Well, there's something I wanted to talk about for a minute, but I don't remember what it was. So no, I guess.
I'm the only one that can have an excuse as senility, my friend.
Oh, I know it. I don't know. It's happened. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. Lord of the Rings. How are you feeling about this? They announced that it takes place in the Second Age, covers the war, the first War of the Rings with Sauron, and it's still canon. So how do you feel about that? Just real quick, if you have a minute to talk about it.
I do, and isn't it going to deal with a younger Aragon as well?
That was the rumor, but Aragorn was he's in the third age, so I'm curious, maybe it'll be done through flashbacks. I don't know, but um yeah, I mean, I at first I was skeptical about the show, but now that I found out that it's not going to overwrite any of the movies, I'm all on board for it. It's just I hope that they're respectful of the property. That's my big concern. I don't want it to be Game of Thrones. I don't want to have a story in Middle Earth but have graphic sex scenes. I don't want that because that just kind of ruins it for me and it feels cheap.
I would agree with you as well. But it's already been set as a standard as far as what Peter Jackson has put out there with the Lord of the Rings films, and it should not deviate too much from that as far as the style and approach. It shouldn't go like, okay, now we can go ahead. We're on Amazon Prime. We can go hardcore with this. No, it should still have a definitive style as far as the way it's structured that people are familiar with, that people have gone to see in the first 6 films. No, it cannot be shot exactly in the same type of scope that Peter Jackson obviously had the liberties to, and obviously the budget to do so as well. There is a big budget for Lord of the Rings, this Lord of the Rings series, but there's also going to be some limitations within the structure of each and every episode that you see. I am excited for it as a huge Lord of the Rings movie fan. I would love to see what takes place beyond it. I've always hoped for more. I know the Hobbit series, as far as the 3 films that came out, were not for everyone, but they still grossed a combined $3 billion. So that's nothing to sneeze at. So you have all these great films that you've done so well with. I hope, even though it's going to be done on a smaller scale, that there's still going to be a lot left there to tell when it comes to the second age within the Lord of the Rings universe that I guess I want that I really would like to see as well.
Yeah, it's just it's the same thing. The same way I view Harry Potter. It's just nice to be able to go back to that universe. Good or bad. I assume with the budget that's going to be really good, but it's just it's cool. It's a fun to revisit, and this is stuff that I hope the Tolkien estate will be heavily involved with. But it's stuff that you read about in books, but you has never really been elaborated on story wise. You kind of just get brief glimpses and shadows of what happened in that time.
And along currently and concurrently along with this is coming out this year as well the bio film based off of J.R. Tolkien himself. So that's kind of interesting how they're going to portray his early years before he developed the Lord of the Rings, or as he was going to develop the Lord of the Rings. So it's kind of nice and interesting to see all this newfound love for the Lord of the Rings. But you were talking about Harry Potter. I'm hopeful of a great series, but I just don't want them to go deep into the realm far enough that you're going to pull some really bad things out of the hat, like Harry Potter did with Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Or you mean out of the wand?
Exactly. Pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Unfortunately, that time it was not even close. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. Oh, well, you know what? We appreciate everyone out there watching and giving us a chance out there to check out all of our great stuff. Don't forget to check us out on our Monday show. We'll be talking more at length about what happened with Captain Marvel this weekend and a whole lot more good stuff along the way. We've got a report from Jessica Boggs, who comes back on talking about all the great things going on in the TV ratings world. Plus also Daphne Matthew talks a little bit more about Beta, his appearance on The Walking Dead, and so much more. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great